Well, hello again. Peter Saturday from Universal Dork back again to talk about pretty cheesy little film that flew way under my radar for a long time. Now, I was up in the Northwoods just a day ago, just got back. I was visiting my mom there. All right, so here we are in the Northwoods. This is Rhinelander Hodag talk. We're calling it. This is just thoughts from the Northwoods.
That's right.
I'm Peter, and this is my mom, Connie.
I'm his mom.
In the Rhinelander area, where it's just snow-covered. The weather's crazy there. I did manage to sneak in a few movies to watch while I was visiting my mom. Since she doesn't have like a TV up there that's hooked up to a streaming service, I decided that I would take advantage of the DVD player that she had there. So I decided I was going to go thrifting like I normally do to look for stuff for the store here, Hollywood Babylon in Portland, Oregon. I was going to go do a little thrifting and see if I could find some sort of weird or cool, kind of like out of the ordinary DVD to watch on this little trip. I found a bunch of them, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about one that I thought was pretty interesting that I found. Rando DVD, totally weird to find at a thrift store.
Primal Force
with Ron Perlman. Yes, check this out. This DVD here, I found this up in the Northwoods. Now, this is not an official DVD. This is some DVD that someone made. Like, so someone designed that thing right there on their computer or something and threw this together. They did a pretty decent job overall. And if we open it up, it just got a very blank looking DVD there. So this was the perfect thing to watch. So I found this in a little thrift store up in northern Wisconsin. And you know, the cool thing about this film is it does not have an official DVD release or a VHS or a Blu-ray or anything. So this is kind of like a little one-of-a-kind find here. This was exactly what I was looking for. So I asked my mom if she would be down to like give this thing a whirl. We're watching something here that not quite her normal stuff that she would stream on her computer.
Well, we did watch a couple of really good movies that Peter brought.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're really good.
Well, one was very good.
Yeah.
Ninja.
American Ninja.
American Ninja. That was, I can honestly say, if he reviews it, I thought it was a really good movie. I really did. The other one, not so much. I didn't care for it.
Primal Force.
Yeah, Primal Force.
From 1999, starring Ron Perlman. She was actually a pretty good sport here because Primal Force, I don't think was quite up her alley, but it was right up mine. For the most part, at least. Now, Primal Force was a TV movie from 1999 that appeared on UPN, United Paramount Network. This was one of their like original films, and apparently it was one of the best films, most like highly rated and highly viewed films that they ever put out on that station. Now, I personally don't remember that station, but this film is composed of a lot of things that I absolutely love. It is essentially a creature feature, a horror film. It's got a little bit of sci-fi in there, an action movie, and a trapped on a desert island film. I'm a total sucker for movies that take place on a desert island. Not really like the greatest film of all time.
The other one, not so much. I didn't care for it.
Primal Force.
Yeah, Primal Force.
But like I said, it does have all the components that I totally love, and I appreciate that. It basically has Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman I always liked because he was in Beauty and the Beast. I always liked him. But I don't know, this just wasn't, I don't think it was his thing.
Starring as this former warden on like this big game island, actually. So there's like this island that these billionaires kind of like got together and bought, kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein type thing, but obviously without the perverts. That being said, someone should really make a movie about hunting Epstein and his gang down on a desert island. Now that'd be a real monster movie, and I'd be in line for that in a second. These guys bought this island and they brought all of these species of animals there for these big game hunters to come and hunt. And to make matters worse, they decided to do scientific experiments on these animals here on this island.
I don't get it. What was the sport in hunting a baboon? It's not exactly big game.
They were just the lab animals for the initial tests. But they became insane with a desire to kill.
To make them even more dangerous and larger. So this film is a killer monkey film. I know in one of my previous videos I talked about the movie Primate and some of the killer monkey movies that were really popular. Now this one deserves to be on that list as well. This is a killer baboon flick. Kind of would be a good double feature with a movie like Shockma. This thing is very low budget, and it really shows, especially in like the editing and the way that this thing is filmed. It doesn't really look that great. I mean, maybe it would look better if someone like cleaned it up and they did like some sort of Blu-ray on it. But this thing looks like it was edited on like iMovie in the late 90s. All of the kind of like bad transitions that you see in movies from that era that were done on the cheap, this one's got them all. Now, the best thing about this film, I would say, is Ron Perlman starring.
Yeah, Ron Perlman I always liked because he was in Beauty and the Beast. I always liked him.
In the lead role here. So he stars as this former game warden that was on this island, and he had an incident with a baboon where it tore some people apart, and he's suffering from PTSD. He's living in Mexico, and that's primarily where this thing takes place. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it almost feels like a Hellboy adventure brought to life. The only thing missing in this film is the makeup effects and the costume and all of that Ron Perlman would wear as Hellboy. I mean, this thing feels exactly like a BPRD Hellboy story. He acts pretty much exactly like him. He smokes a cigarette. He's got a gun that he uses, you know, like shoot things. He's kind of a badass. And for kind of like the majority of the film, he actually has kind of like this coat on that resembles like Hellboy's iconic trench coats. So as I was watching this, I was kind of imagining this as being almost like a one-shot on the cheap Hellboy film that could be in line with like the last Hellboy movie that they did, which I actually kind of liked. And even Ron Perlman in here and some of the action scenes, the way he like fights and stuff and is able to take on these like mutated baboons really reminds me of Hellboy.
Remember me? Because I sure as hell remember you, you son of a bitch.
Now, this is the exact type of story, too, that would take place in like a one-shot Hellboy comic. Would be Hellboy going with a group of people, maybe he's brought there by some other BPRD agents, where scientists have been mutating on animals, and Hellboy would have to face some mutant baboons. Even though this thing is on an island, I'd say that the island is a little bit disappointing. Not as tropical and mysterious looking as I would like it to be. There's a couple cool scenes in a cave that take place, but overall the island is a little bit on like the ugly side. There is a plane that had crashed on the island, like this private plane that crashes, and it's got this kind of rich girl who's like the daughter of this billionaire type dude. She's getting ready to buy the island. The plane crashes there, and next thing you know, they've got killer baboons all over the place. These are people in like creature suits, which is right up my alley here. So the baboons in here are pretty cool. You can kind of see on the back here, you can see there's one of them actually going toe-to-toe with Ron Perlman there. There's Ron Perlman looking like a badass with his gun and everything.
Yeah, Ron Perlman I always liked because he was in Beauty and the Beast. I always liked him.
The rest of the characters in this movie are completely disposable. Without Perlman in this movie, this would probably be like a complete throwaway. And overall, I'd say the baboons look pretty cool. Every now and again, you get kind of a close-up shot of their face. A lot of times they're kind of in the shadows and like jumping around in trees. There's a woman that plays this baboon here in this film. Her name is Lola Noah. She also played one of the apes in the movie Congo. It's kind of got a reputation for playing primates. So from the beginning, a lot of this film takes place during the daytime, which does not do this film any favors. And about halfway through the movie, I was kind of regretting making my mom sit through this one because I could tell that she was not really all that into it.
The other one, not so much. I didn't care for it.
Primal Force. But for me, right about the midpoint of this film, once day turned to night, I really started vibing on Primal Force. And at that point is when we kind of got a little bit more into the horror aspect of things. So this group of characters is trying to survive on this island, and eventually they discover this strange laboratory, this abandoned laboratory on the island as well. And they kind of hole up in there for the night. And that's when things start getting a little more interesting. We get a little backstory about what's going on. And then, of course, we get the killer baboon attack on the group. And the baboons, it's nighttime, and they're like jumping around on the roof of this place. They're in this like lookout tower, pretty cool actually there. And then they start like bashing their hands through the walls and stuff and like grabbing people and pulling them through. This film really suffers the fact that there's pretty much like no gore in it. The kills are pretty much almost all like off screen. And it kind of makes me wonder, maybe this film had like an alternate cut of it with more gore and stuff in it. And come to find out, very interesting, that while this was being filmed, one of the people was working on the abandoned production of Freddy vs. Jason. And apparently Ron Perlman was supposed to star in the first draft production of Freddy vs. Jason as Jason Voorhees. Now, wouldn't that have been interesting? I mean, Perlman in this film is a total beast. He is totally ripped. He would be the perfect Jason.
Yeah, Ron Perlman I always liked because he was in Beauty and the Beast. I always liked him.
So Primal Force is not the best killer monkey film, but I gotta say, this thing really quenched my thirst in the Northwoods for the exact type of movie that I was hoping to find in a thrift store out there. Now, if someone ever released this on Blu-ray, I would be curious. Maybe there is like an uncut version. I do recommend anyone who's into like practical effects and practical monster movies to check this out. Because at the end of it, I was like, you know what? Pretty cool. They had some pretty cool practical monkeys in here right around this time in cinema. They were CGIing the shit out of pretty much everything. So I really appreciate the fact that they used real actors in suits. There's nothing better than like monsters put to film when they're actually sharing the screen in real life with the actors. So that's at least one thing that Primal Force got right. I guess I would recommend it. I think I give this thing like 3 stars on Letterboxd. All right, that's it for me today. I will see you next time.
Like the other day, I have a big microwave up here above the stove.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cooking eggs for my son because we was visiting.
Yep, here it is. Here's what she's talking about. That's where the microwave was.
Yeah. And then I'm bending kind of over. I'm going to channel over the eggs. And a 50-pound,
Microwave?
came down and, almost killed me.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the eggs that were
Yeah,
being
and
made.
the eggs burned. I already have a broken wrist.